Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is for anybody that's on here. Welcome to the Praxis bi-weekly agent webinar series. We are excited to have everyone on, and I'm very excited to have the guests that we have on today. But before we do that, if you haven't noticed from the title, we are going to be talking about LinkedIn marketing, and one of the people that we have on is very, very proficient at it, and we're excited to have him on. We've been working with them for quite a while. But before we go in and introduce Tyson, just a couple housekeeping things. So for everyone that's on, you'll notice that everyone's muted. We have a decent amount of people on, so it's nice to have a quiet background. But if you have any questions, there is a Q&A bar either at the bottom or top or wherever you keep your Zoom bar. There's a Q&A bar right there. If you have any questions as we're going through the information, do not hesitate to ask. We will make sure that we address those questions before we finish up. We will have a short time afterwards before we end to do questions, and I'll unmute people if they raise their hands, but and go from there so that we have some time to chat and talk and everyone understand the information that's being shared, because the concept and idea of what we're talking about is, of course, something that every agent is always interested in, which is answering this one question: how do I get in front of more qualified prospects? And I think for a lot of the agents that we work with and talk to, the LinkedIn is an underutilized tool to be able to do that. And it usually takes time, effort, energy, and expertise and knowledge that a lot of people don't have or have spent time doing, because we're writing policies, we're helping our clients, we're running an agency. It's very busy to be able to do and handle everything that an agent actually needs to handle. So that's why we bring in experts like Tyson to be able to share information. They've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and we're excited to bring him on. So without any further ado, though, Tyson Bailey is the president of the Trained Advisor, and very specifically his focus over the past years have been on marketing, and one of the areas that he is very proficient in is in LinkedIn. And one of the areas that he's helped some of the agents that we work with in agencies is in creating funnels to be able to generate leads for higher net worth clients and things like that. So we're going to extrapolate some of his knowledge that he is willing to share with us today. Tyson, we've been working together for a little while now, and he's a expert in some of the groups that we're a part of. And I've always enjoyed the amount of information that he's willing to share and help agents, because again, he's been there as well. And I appreciate all of that. So without any further ado, though, Tyson, the floor is yours. I'll let you run the show. And again, just thank you for your time, and looking forward to the information you're going to share.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate it. So let me go ahead and share I'm going to start my camera, make sure you guys can see me, and then share my screen as well. All right. So if my face or the screen does not pop up, let me know. But yeah,
I can see you, and I can see your screen and see you, Tyson. Just so
all right, perfect. So we're off to a good start.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thanks for that introduction, Nathan. Really appreciate it. So what I want to do with this presentation specifically is I want to dive a little bit into our system specifically. Like Nathan said, I want to talk about LinkedIn marketing. I want to talk about sales funnels and systems and all that kind of stuff. But if I was going to give this thing a title, it'd be how to consistently get business owners, high income earning professionals, and high net worth individuals to book themselves on your calendar. Now, that's without making cold calls, without door knocking, without paying for ads. Like Nathan said, we do a lot on the LinkedIn side, but I'll explain this in a little bit. So if it's like drinking through a fire hose right now, relax, don't worry. It's going to all make sense in just a little bit. But yeah, one of the things that we like to do is add sales funnels on the backside of the LinkedIn marketing. So if you are an advisor who, if you hear the word marketing, whether it's digital marketing, real world marketing, whatever it is, and you get that sinking feeling in your stomach and you start to clench up a little bit, just take a deep breath and relax. So one of my favorite testimonials that I ever received was from one of our advisors named Mike. Now, Mike, after working with us for a couple months, he sent me this text right here. He's like, "Hey, this is the first marketing I've done and actually made money. It's nice, right?" So I got a good kick out of that. So Mike had never seen any success with his marketing, whether that was on the digital side or the real world side. And within about 2 months, we helped him generate between $90,000 and $100,000 in revenue. That was commission coming in through life insurance policies directly as a result of the systems that we had set up for him. So with the systems that we create and the programs that we have, you do not need to be a marketing wizard. You don't need to be super techie. You don't need to be a social media influencer or a Facebook or a Google or Instagram ads expert. You don't even need to run a single ad to make this work or even be comfortable with digital marketing. But what you do need to be is able to work with business owners, with those high income earning professionals, with high net worth individuals, and you need to enjoy it as well. If that's something, if that's a market, if those are prospects that you don't enjoy working with, then it's going to be tough inside of a system like this. So I'll tell everybody straight up, we are not your final expense lead generation specialist. We are not your mortgage protection lead generation specialist. Medicare is not really our primary wheelhouse. So it's that there are not that there's anything wrong with those products or sales solutions. It's just not who we are. It's not our specialty. And there are other people out there who are a lot better than we are at getting those types of clients. But when it comes to business owners, those high net worth individuals, high income earning professionals, that's where we shine. And that's the niche that we like to be in. So my goal with all the advisors that we work with is to help get you off of what I call the marketing roller coaster. Now, the marketing roller coaster goes a little bit something like this. And I guarantee that you've experienced this at some point in your business. And I know that I've done it multiple times, especially back when I was doing personal production and man, just had a lot of different avenues that I was going down. I'll explain that in just a second. But the marketing roller coaster goes a little bit something like this. So you wake up one day and you're looking at your pipeline and you realize that it's either empty or just not as full as you want it to be. So what you do is you start focusing all of your time and attention on your pipeline. So you're doing whatever it takes. You're cold calling, you're door knocking, you're spending money on leads, you're starting to try out whatever ad platform you can find. And so because you're focusing so heavily on that pipeline, is that it does start to grow. It fills up slowly and steadily until one day, one of two things are going to happen. Either one, you're going to get busy. You're going to start doing the things that you like to do, which is closing cases, taking care of clients, designing cases, growing your bottom line. Or the other thing that's going to happen is that you're just going to get burnt out. Marketing is not something that you signed up to do, right? That's not what you wanted to base your career on. So either way, whether it's because you're burnt out or because you're helping clients, that marketing is going to be put on the back burner. And so when that happens and you're not focusing on your pipeline, as it starts to dry up, it starts to go down, you're working with clients or you're just taking your eye off the marketing. And then again, you wake up one day and you're like, oh shoot, like I got to fill that pipeline up. And so you start focusing on it again, it starts filling up, and you get into the cycle of full pipeline, empty pipeline, full pipeline. And so that's what I want to help you avoid. So before I get into the marketing side, you're probably wondering, all right, who is Tyson Bailey? Who's this guy that's talking to me about, LinkedIn and sales funnels and that kind of stuff? So I was fortunate to grow up around financial experts. My grandpa was a CPA. One of the earliest jobs that I can remember having was as a janitor for his office. My dad was a financial planner. He was an estate planning attorney, tax planning attorney. When I was in high school, he was actually the advanced planning consultant over the Western region for a major life insurance carrier. And that's when he started taking me into the business and taking me under his wing and starting to include me in what he was doing. So originally it was filing paperwork, shredding documents, all that kind of stuff. But it morphed into him having me create presentations that he would either deliver to advisors or directly to clients. And so because he was that advanced planning expert, is like we were doing some really cool stuff. So there was like dynasty trust, legacy planning, life insurance and retirement planning, business planning, buy-sell agreements, all that kind of stuff. And so that's where I started to develop not only a little bit more of a knowledge on that side, but more importantly, a passion for that. So coming out of college, I was actually hired by Penn Mutual to be one of their regional case designers. Absolutely loved that job. Absolutely loved having a big boy job inside of the life insurance industry. And so it was a good opportunity to be around these regional directors and regional marketing directors who became mentors for me in the business. By the way, that's my family over here on the right side. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got 3 kids. They're awesome. It's a circus at our house, but it's cool at the same time. So anyway, jumping over from that life insurance company working for Penn Mutual is I ended up getting hired by a marketing company where they basically brought me on to oversee all of their accounts that we were selling an insurance component to. So we would do health insurance, life insurance, disability, long-term care. And I just lucked into this job where I had a boss that gave me a really long leash and let me oversee all of our marketing campaigns that we were running to these large national organizations. So email marketing, direct mail. And some of my accounts were like Remax, the Home Depot, PF Chang's, Kaplan. We had the NAACP, we had the Second Amendment Foundation, the National Association of Social Workers. And so essentially it was my job to create these email and direct mail campaigns that we'd send out to these hundreds of thousands and millions of members to get them to buy an insurance product. And so that was a great way for me to be able to keep a solid foundation on the insurance and financial side while getting my feet wet on the marketing side and realizing, hey, I've got a passion for both of these and they're really cool. I need to find a way to combine these together. So I jumped over from there to a national financial consulting company where it was an insurance brokerage, advanced planning outfit. But I basically started wearing a lot of hats in that process where I was doing personal production for myself. I was doing case design, marketing, operations. But what it boiled down to is that if I didn't have an active case that I was either illustrating for another advisor or an active case that I was working on for myself, it was my job to either get more clients or get more advisors to come join our company, right? So really starting to use that marketing side. And there was something that was really interesting in this process working with these advisors is that they would come to me and they were just like, man, Tyson, like I could talk a starving dog off of a food truck. I just need more people to talk to, right? And so it was a great opportunity for me to start analyzing where everybody was getting their business from, how were advisors marketing. We were working with some great advisors. So because of our specialty, our expertise is that we were dealing with a lot of high net worth, high income earning clients. We were working with a lot of business owners. And so I was trying to figure out, okay, how is this working? How are they getting clients coming in the door? How can we make this more efficient? And what I realized is that in this process, the advisors had a lot of pieces of the marketing puzzle. They either were doing some email or they were doing some door knocking or they were doing a website or they had a post going out on social media. But the problem is that they had pieces of the marketing puzzle, but it wasn't they weren't putting together the full picture. And so it was a great moment for me to realize and understand that you can have a great website, you can have great product knowledge or sales skills, or it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do if you don't have anybody to talk to, if nobody ever sees it. And so as part of my job at that time, I had to figure out how this works. One of the things that I realized is that when I was working for that marketing company is I had a lot of resources at my disposal that I completely took for granted. So when I wanted to run a marketing campaign and when I wanted to test something out, I'd go to my boss and say, hey, I'd love to do X, Y, and Z. And he'd be like, all right, how much does it cost? And I'd say, $10, $15, $20, $25,000, whatever it was. And he'd be like, okay, yep, looks good, go run it, right? So I had an unlimited budget. I had a full-time creative team, so I could come up with an idea conceptually, toss it over to them and just say, hey, go fight, win, go put it together, team. They would do it. And then I had a full-time sales team as well. But in this business, especially at this financial consulting company, all of a sudden it was on me. It was my time. It was my dime that I was spending. And especially, with my wife, she was pregnant with our son at the time. We had a daughter who was, she had to have been right around 2 years old. And so if I wanted to tell my wife, hey, I want to go test out an ad campaign, or I want to test out a marketing campaign that costs $5,000, $10,000, however many dollars it was, I had to run it past the boss, right? And say, hey, this is going to come out of our bank account. What do you think? So I started studying the current methods that were being used because I figured there had to be a better way to get the results that I wanted in a more time and money effective way possible, right? So I started studying the current methods that were being used. Advisors would come to me with a case to design it. I'd say, all right, how did you find this case? And so some of the things I saw were knocking doors, cold calling, asking for referrals. Some had tried some online ads like Facebook or Google or whatever it might be. And I realized that these things could be effective, but they were either time intensive or they required some sort of technical learning or experience that I just didn't have, which would result, if you didn't do it right, it would result in a lot of dollars lost. And so one of the earliest lessons that I learned was that Mark Zuckerberg would gladly take my dollars. He would gladly take my money, even if I never saw anything in return, right? And so I started trying to figure out, okay, well, how do other industries do it? How are people getting clients even outside of the insurance and financial space? And there was a lesson that I learned in this process that became crucial to everything that we've done moving forward. And it's go where your prospects are, right? So I had to look around and see, okay, where are my prospects hanging out? Where is that place that these high net worth individuals, these business owners, these high income earning professionals, where are they? Where are they hanging out? Now, I don't care if you go to a McDonald's or you go to the most expensive steakhouse, in your city. If you look around, I guarantee you're going to see people on their phones. They're scrolling, right? So social media that's where everybody is today. It doesn't matter if you're broke or if you got a lot of money. Social media is a place where everybody's hanging out. So going a little bit deeper into that is then I had to figure out, okay, now social media is there, but what platform do I go with? There's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest. And so it's easy to get analysis paralysis in that process and just get stuck not doing anything because it's so overwhelming. But going back to that lesson that I learned, go where your prospects are, right? So I had to find the platform that those high income earning professionals, those business owners, and those high net worth prospects use to hang out. Now, Nathan already spoiled it. It was in the title of this, the webinar, but it was LinkedIn, right? I learned very early on that, especially when it came to, let's use like a doctor as an example. So if in the real world, if I want to go talk to a doctor, he doesn't know who I am, I've never met him before, then I have to, let's say I'm calling in, I got to make my way through a secretary, an executive assistant. I have to make it through these gatekeepers. Same thing if I'm going in the real world, unless I'm setting an appointment with a doctor and somehow I get into the office and then transition that to a sales conversation, I got to go in and I need to make my way through those gatekeepers. But in the digital world, so let's say LinkedIn, right? If I can figure out how to connect with a doctor and get him to connect with me on LinkedIn, and then I have the right messaging strategy to be able to get him conversing with me, I can get right into that doctor's pocket to be able to get his attention and get him to listen to what I'm saying, which is a drastic difference from some of those real world strategies, right? So from there, we're able to take that concept and that strategy and morph it into what I call our high premium attraction system. And that's what I want to be going through in this presentation. I'll talk about some of the testimonials that we received. But bottom line is our specialty is in these marketing systems that are designed to attract, nurture, and convert the affluent. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn marketing in general, one of the ways, and I get asked this question all the time, they're like, Tyson, somebody else does LinkedIn marketing. So-and-so is going to help me get connections. So-and-so is going to help me get conversations. And that's perfect, right? There are a lot of great outfits out there. But one of the things that we need to remember is that you can't pay your bills with connections and conversations, right? So you need to develop a full system that not only gets those connections and conversations, that's a great start, but that system needs to be able to attract, nurture, and convert your prospects for you. And that's what we're going to be going through. All right, so here's our agenda. So what I want you to do is as we go through each of these, even if you never use our services, I want you to be able to take notes. There are going to be a lot of concepts and strategies that I'm going to be going through in this presentation that you can go ahead and you can take and apply them to your business, and you're going to be able to see results from those, again, regardless of whether you work with us or not. So make sure you're taking notes. So the first thing I'm going to go through is that we're going to talk about the key to attracting a high net worth business owner and high income earning prospects on demand. Number two is going to be how to get those coveted prospects to take action and digitally raise their hand, asking to learn more about who you are and what you offer. And then the last thing is going to be how to capitalize on every opportunity with your prospects. And then Nathan, if it's okay, I'd love to talk about a special offer that we put together for Praxis advisors, but I'll get to that in just a minute. So number one,
Tyson, of course, you got carte blanche.
All right, sounds good. That's a dangerous thing to say.
So being recorded, Tyson.
Right, there we go. All right, so number one, the key to getting unlimited high net worth business owner and high income earning prospects on demand. Again, this is without cold calling, door knocking, wasting money on ads, buying email lists, and on and on and on. All right. So let's go back to that phrase, go where your prospects are. So there's a very powerful concept that you can use to your advantage on both the marketing and the sales side, and it's called pre-framing. Now, to illustrate pre-framing, MIT did a study a few years ago about pre-framing. Now, what they did was they had a classroom full of students, and they divided that classroom in half. So you've got section A and you have section B. Now, what they did is they were going to bring a brand new professor into this classroom, and they wanted these students to be able to review and rate the professor on the lecture the professor was going to be giving. So what they did before the professor got in the room is for group A, the first half of the class, they gave an overview of the professor that was about to come in. They gave them a paper that basically said, this professor is amazing. They're very knowledgeable. They're a great lecturer, great teacher. Everybody loves this professor. Now for group B, the other half of the classroom, they gave the exact opposite overview of the professor before they got in. So the review that they got of the overview, excuse me, of the professor was that they were very short. They were not knowledgeable. They were brand new. Students don't like that professor. And so after seeing the overview of the professor came in, gave the exact same lecture to the students. And what was very interesting is that afterward, they asked the students to review and rate the professor. So the ones that got a good overview of the professor before they came in gave a glowing review, saying the professor was amazing. The lecture was great, 5 stars out of 5, right? The other half, the ones that got the bad overview, like, man, that was awful, boring, falling asleep, didn't get anything out of it. And it was all based on the pre-framing that they received before hearing the professor. Now, how does this relate to marketing? So when people go to LinkedIn, they go to LinkedIn for business purposes. It's a business platform. So naturally, they're going to start pre-framing themselves for the experience they're about to receive on LinkedIn. Now, let's have the a contrasting perspective, right? So when people go to Facebook or Instagram, typically they're going to those platforms to hang out. It's all, I don't want to say it's a mind-numbing experience, but you're looking to scroll, you're checking up on friends and family, seeing what somebody had for dinner last night. And so on those platforms, if all of a sudden you reach out to somebody with a message out of the blue and you're like, hey, I've got this financial opportunity, this financial strategy, whatever, it's abrasive, it's different. They're not there for that. But on LinkedIn, if they're going there for business purposes, if they're going on there to figure out how to further their business, further their financial situation, and you reach out with a business or financial opportunity or a way that they can improve their financial life, that's a natural fit. They're going to be much more receptive to that opportunity. So again, LinkedIn, people start pre-framing themselves for the experience they're about to have. Now, what I love about LinkedIn, so there are a lot of members on LinkedIn, right? Over 810 million members worldwide, over 180 million members in the United States, which means that your dream client is on LinkedIn. You just have to be able to find them. But in addition to that, what I love is that, excuse me, over 44% of LinkedIn users make $75,000 or more per year. Now, we can increase the odds of the person that we're going to be reaching out to making even more money than that based on who we're targeting. So again, those high converting professionals like doctors, dentists, CPAs, attorneys, whoever it might be, or business owners. So we want to be targeting people who are already concerned about the problems that we have solutions for. So if you're a business owner, you're going to be concerned about business planning. If you're making a lot of money, if you're a high converting professional, you're going to be concerned about how much you're paying in taxes each year. Those pain points are going to be at the surface level. So we don't necessarily have to do a lot of digging or a lot of educating on those pain points because that's what they live day in and day out, right? And so that's what we've been able to do with some of our clients like John here. So you see on the left here is a text that he sent me about a neurosurgeon reaching out to him on LinkedIn, asking for help about tax planning strategies for a small business. So John was able, excuse me, to make about $230,000 to $250,000 in revenue coming through, about 30 to 35 new clients. Now, not every case or not every client that comes to you off of LinkedIn is going to be one of those, 6-7 figure cases, right? So on the left here, we had one of our clients who received a message back about a guy who's about to retire in a couple months. He had $400,000 in one of his accounts to work with. He's like, hey, I need help. Can you help me with this? We have Jeanette over on the right here who was able to take an app off of LinkedIn for the first time ever. And I think that the commission was between $1,500 and $3,000 off of that policy. So it's being able to get those smaller cases in addition to some of those bigger, 6-7 figure cases rolling through. So to recap that, LinkedIn is currently the key to getting unlimited high net worth business owner and high income earning prospects on demand. Now, I put that word currently in there because we're always testing to make sure, okay, who's coming in, who are the clients coming in? What's the next platform? What's that next thing that we can take a look at so that you're being as efficient and as effective as possible? So number two, now that we know where these clients are, how do we get these ideal prospects, these dream clients, how do we get them to take action and digitally raise their hand to asking to learn more about who you are and what you offer? Again, you can't pay your bills with connections and conversations, right? So how do we get them to take action without cold calling, without door knocking, without wasting money on ads, without buying email lists, and on and on and on, right? So here's where things are going to get a little bit different, where we want to be combining multiple different strategies into the marketing equation. Again, putting that marketing puzzle together. So what you're seeing on your screen right now are some clients or prospects that were booking themselves on our clients' calendar. So the key to this specifically, and you need to write this down because this is extremely important. The key to making the most out of social media or even email marketing or whatever it might be is to get these prospects off of social media, out of email as fast as possible and into your digital environment. Now, why is that? Because when we're on social media, you're competing. I remember that screen I just pointed to, we pulled up a little bit ago. There are over 180 million members on LinkedIn in the United States. So you're literally competing with thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of other profiles and people clamoring for the attention of your prospects. So it's so easy to scroll. It's so easy to exit out. I did this with my wife the other night where somebody messaged me on LinkedIn. I was taking a look at it. My wife started to talk to me, and I learned early on in my marriage, happy wife, happy life. And so I looked up, started paying attention to what she was saying, and either out of habit or, my phone just, whatever it does naturally, it exited out of LinkedIn. Now, I live on LinkedIn daily, right? That's what I do. So I remembered the next day, oh, I forgot to read the rest of that message. So I went back to it. But our prospects, they don't know what they don't know. So they're not always going to be searching back to say, oh yeah, what did Nathan say to me the other day? I remember that Joe messaged me the other day about some financial something. That's why we got to get everybody off of LinkedIn as fast as possible, right? So how do we do this? What we want to be doing is we want to be positioning value-based offers to our prospects. Now, you can call that whatever you want. You can call that bait, lead magnets, attraction tools, whatever you want to call it. But you want to be giving these value-based offers typically in exchange for somebody's contact information. So what you're saying to somebody on LinkedIn, I'll give an example in a minute, is you're saying, hey, glad we're connected. Hey, by the way, I'm offering X, Y, and Z. Feel free to click here to take advantage of it. Boom. They're off of LinkedIn. They're clicking on that link, going into your digital environment. So when it comes to picking that bait, picking that lead magnet, you want to, this is where, again, we don't want that analysis paralysis to set in. But when it comes to that bait, one of the best examples that I've ever heard with this is that you want to be able to match your bait to your prospects, right? So I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in Idaho and Washington State. I'm down in Arizona right now. So I did a little bit of fishing, but I guarantee somebody on this webinar is a much better fisherman than I am. So I Googled this just to make sure. But I Googled what kind of fish can you catch with a worm, right? What kind of fish, if you go out there and you put a worm on your hook, what kind of fish are you going to be attracting? So Google tells me, and this is what I thought, but Google confirmed, you can catch just about any freshwater fish with a worm. Just about any freshwater fish will eat a worm. So if I'm going out there with a worm, who knows what I'm going to catch, right? But what if I want to catch a certain type of fish? What if I'm looking to catch, on the screen right here, you're seeing a sturgeon, okay? Sturgeon are just about, it's either the largest freshwater fish in the world or one of the largest freshwater fish in the world. They've got these up in Washington. But if I wanted to go out and catch a sturgeon, would I just go out there with a worm? No, right? Because I don't know what I'm going to catch. I've got to be able to pick the bait that the sturgeon are going to be attracted to and enticed by. So marketing is the exact same. Marketing is no different. So think about this. If I was going to be offering a gift card, who would I attract with a gift card? Well, a gift card's like a worm, right? So just about anybody can use a gift card, or I'm going to say anybody can use a gift card. So I'm going to attract everyone under the sun if I'm offering a gift card as my bait. If I'm offering a get rich fast planner template, I'm probably going to attract somebody who's looking to get rich fast, right? Or if I'm offering a guide on how to buy life insurance after having your first baby, I'm going to be attracting somebody that either just had their first baby or they're about to have their first baby, right? So that's where I want to go ahead and take a look at who am I trying to attract and what are they going to be enticed by. So when it comes to lead magnets, there are all different kinds of lead magnets. So you can do videos, trainings, webinars, checklists, books, PDFs, special reports, white papers, and on and on and on and on, right? So again, typically this lead magnet is offered in exchange for somebody's contact information. I'll explain why in just a minute. So an example of this. So one of our clients, his name is Armando. Now, Armando had been in the business he was coming up on his 1-year anniversary. So he was doing really well, right? I mean, he's seen a lot of early success, which is awesome. He had done some stuff on LinkedIn in the past, but never really, nothing really ever came off of LinkedIn. All of his stuff either came from referrals or from outside sources that he met with people in the real world. But what I loved about Armando's situation, so we were sending some texts, and I was like, hey, I'll keep you in the loop as we get launched. And as soon as we launched, he sent me this text back and he was almost giddy. And he's like, hey, somebody already scheduled, like, this is awesome, right? And so it was super cool. So within about the first 7 to 10 days, this is what Armando's calendar was looking like, where these are individuals that were booking themselves on Armando's calendar, asking to learn more about who he was, what he offered, and how he can help them. So diving into this a little bit more, here's something that you can do with your calendar. If you're using Calendly or some scheduling software, one of the questions that I love to include is to make a requirement of a question like this. So what is your biggest financial pain point right now? What is the number one financial concern that you have right now? I love including this on all of our scheduling software, whether it's Calendly or directly into a CRM, whatever, because from a marketing nerd side where we're at is we want to make sure that we're attracting people that you are wanting to work with, right? For you, it gives you the ability to learn more about what this person is concerned with before you ever talk to them, right? So that's just a little helpful hint there, right? So going into Armando's campaign. So again, he's business owner focused, wants to work with people who have that tax pain point. So this is what we're seeing. So we had an individual named John here. So you see John is a co-owner, so business owner. We went through, we connected with John for Armando. And then again, remember, we want to get somebody off of LinkedIn as fast as possible. So right here, this is where we were able to go in and we sent this message for Armando where he's like, hey, just a heads up, I put this end of your financial checklist together, thought you might like it. Boom, when you get a second, you can grab that checklist here, send them off of LinkedIn, right? So again, get them off of LinkedIn as fast as possible, keep that conversation going. And that's where we had John here going through where he booked himself. Not only did he download that checklist, but he went through, took the next step. He's like, hey, I would love to have a conversation to figure out how I can maximize my financial opportunities. And he booked himself directly on Armando's calendar. So one of the questions that you're probably asking is, okay, with all of the, with that full list that we had earlier, right? Again, that lead magnet can be checklists, PDFs, books, special reports, white papers, a webinar, whatever it is, everything under the sun. How do you pick the right lead magnet? So first off, just relax and take a deep breath. So that's what we're here to help you with and help you understand, especially for your market. We have that a pulse on the market, so we can help you understand, okay, here's what a business owner is attracted to. Here's what doctors are, jumping to get. This is what they like. So that's what we're here to help you with. What I'd say is, even if you don't ever speak with us, so keep in mind, you want to match your bait to your target market. So think about, okay, if I'm looking to attract a business owner, what do I already have in my content library? Because I guarantee that we all have content at our disposal that maybe we put together, but we haven't used. What can you put out there to say, okay, let me test this, let me tweak this, let me see if it's getting people to come through. And then again, if you have questions, feel free to ask us. I will let you know that right now, the best performing lead magnet that we have that we have across the board, from Washington State to Florida and everywhere in between, is offering physical copies of books. If somebody can see something, smell something, touch something, hold something, they automatically equate that as a higher value than something that they receive digitally. So those books, those physical books, are producing some really good results across the board. So that's what we were able to do with one of our clients, Ford, where again, within the first week, and again, it doesn't always happen this fast. So I want to add that little asterisk disclaimer right there. But within the first week, he was able to offer or connect with a business owner. He was able to offer him a lead magnet, a physical copy of a book. that business owner booked an appointment for the very next day with Ford. And then he was able to close this individual. So one of the things that I loved about what the client said is he was like, hey, excuse me. He's like, hey, I've got $6 million liquid cash along with some various investments. And I'm in the process of receiving over $30 million from the buyout of my business. And my CPA is running out of ideas as far as tax savings, wealth creation. Can you help me? Right. And so that's where he was able to go through and say, yep, we can help you out. Here's what we can do. So it was able to morph into not just, tax-free retirement or whatever the initial concept was, but legacy planning, business planning, estate planning, and everything in between, right? That's what we want to see. We had another advisor named Tom, who was able to land again, it's kind of crazy that it was two $30 million business owner clients, but that business owner was about to sell his business for about $30 million. It was a software company. Tom was able to step in. There's going to be multiple planning opportunities based off of that, which is awesome. One of the hangups that you might be having is, hey, what if I'm giving away too much information? What if I give somebody some information, they take that and run with it, which is a very valid concern. And that's something that we all struggle with at some point. But I will tell you that if you introduce something of value to somebody, they will immediately associate that value with you. When it comes to the high income earning market, the high net worth market, the business owner market, I would say 95 or 99% of these individuals will always tell you that they have a financial girl or financial guy, even if they don't, even if the only person they've ever talked to about finances was their brothers, cousins, dogs, nephews, whatever it is, right? So they will tell you that they have a financial person, but if you introduce something of value to them, that they're able to see how it applies to them right away, they're going to associate that value with you, and you are going to be that subject matter expert in their eyes that they're going to be turning to, right? Again, Ford's client, right? He had a CPA. He had financial people in place that he was doing investments with, but Ford offered that piece of value, that information he had never heard before. So boom, he goes to Ford. What can I do to take the next steps forward? What am I missing and what can I do? So to recap, you need to get your prospects get your prospects to take action, digitally raise their hand to learn more about who you are, what you offer, and actually book themselves on a calendar by using lead magnets to get them into your digital environment. So the shorter way to say that is get them off of LinkedIn as fast as possible. All right. So number 3, how to capitalize on every opportunity with your prospects and capture as much revenue as possible without burning out. Now, this is a very, very, very important piece of the puzzle. Okay. So that burnout, again, it's either going to happen because 1, you don't want to be a marketer. That's not what you signed up to do. That's not what your specialty is, right? So if you are having to do marketing activities constantly, I guarantee that burnout's going to happen or you're going to miss out on opportunities. So we have one of our clients here. So his name is Barry. So in these emails right here, we had just launched Barry's campaign. And so his junior advisor in the office there was sending me an email. I'm trying to get a pulse on, okay, what's happening? What's the activity? He used a different, you'll see in that email here, he used a different scheduling link instead of Calendly. So our visibility into people booking appointments was less than what we like. So I wanted to get like some down on the ground, like results, right? I want to see what was going on. So he was giving me an update. So we got 1 of the 5 people booked an appointment down here. Barry gave me another update about 20 minutes later. He's like, hey, here are the 3 of the people that booked an appointment. He's giving me a little bit of a heads up. One was an attorney, some person that he had on his radio show in 2014. Cool, right? So with Barry's campaign, he had within the first week, he had 10 requests for that lead magnet. So 10 leads coming through, and he had 4 consultations that were booked right away, which is awesome. Like, so the ratio there is perfect. That's what we want to see. That's what we love to see. But the question is, okay, what about those 6 other leads that came through the door, right? So I'll circle back to that in just a second. Now, one of our other advisors, Kara here, I loved her testimony that she sent. She's a great advisor. Absolutely love working with her. So she said, I've been overwhelmed by the instant success as the campaign has gone viral. I've received over 100 leads and have close to half wanting to talk with me. Most of the contacts I've made are with very affluent clients. For example, this week, I stumbled into 2 large cases with clients net worth over $10 million. Awesome, right? So if you're looking at metrics, that the key metrics of the campaign, like knocking it out of the park, right? That's what we love. 100 leads, you have like 50 wanting to talk with her, multiple cases where you've got high net worth, over $10 million. But the question is, what about that other half? What about those people who came through the campaign, those leads that did not take the next step? So the typical process for advisors, and I went through this, and a lot of advisors that I know have been through this, This probably sounds familiar, right? So the typical process is lots of phone calls, lots of messages out on social media, lots of individual emails to each person, lots of guesswork, and lots of burnout, right? And so again, you didn't sign up to be a life insurance or financial advisor to chase down prospects. You want to be helping clients. So that's where that burnout comes in. So the key takeaway with this is that systems save lives. All right. Systems are the key to maximizing your opportunity with each and every prospect or lead that comes through the door. If you do not have a system, you will get burnt out. I guarantee it, or you're going to be missing out on opportunities. All right. So when it comes to the system, this is a very, very simplified, high-level version of what a system can look like. Okay. So we have over here on the left-hand side, we have our traffic source. This is where our prospects are hanging out. This is our marketing pool that we're going to go fishing in. All right. So you can have Facebook, you can have email, you can have LinkedIn, you can have Instagram. Again, go where your prospects are. So our specialty is LinkedIn. Maybe your prospects aren't on LinkedIn, right? So take a look and think, okay, where are my prospects? Where can I go? Now, the first thing we need to do, again, is we need to get people off of social media, off of email, whatever it is, and into your digital environment by offering some sort of lead magnet, right? So in this case, I have a checklist that's shown on the screen. A lot of our campaigns revolve around physical books. But again, remember before I mentioned that you want to be offering this lead magnet, this bait, this attraction tool in exchange for somebody's contact information. It's called an opt-in page, okay? So the reason for that is that once somebody requests that information, once somebody requests that lead magnet or that bait, you want to be able to send out some sort of email, some sort of drip sequence, indoctrination sequence, nurture sequence to be able to continue to educate them on this opportunity that you're offering, okay? So that's step one. You're grabbing their contact information. At the very least, you're getting their email address. In a lot of circumstances, we're getting phone numbers as well, so you can make follow-up calls. But that's where you want to be able to nurture these prospects as much as possible. Now, if somebody requests that lead magnet, you always want to be giving your prospects the ability to take the next steps with you. There are going to be some individuals whose pain point is strong enough that they're like, hey, I need to meet with John right away. I need to meet with Susie right away. I need to eliminate this pain point. I hate it. I hate living with this. I've got to talk to somebody. So you're always giving somebody the ability to book a strategy session or a consultation with you right away. But for the majority of people that go through and request that information from you, they simply don't know what they don't know, right? So we live in this world day in and day out. So for example, US government, over $30 trillion in debt, right? Cool fact, how many, I don't know if you've done this before, but if you had to guess how many seconds 1 trillion seconds is, okay? So guess what year it was 1 trillion seconds ago? It was almost 30,000 BC. Okay, so that's how much 1 trillion is. US government is over $30 trillion in debt. A lot of us are under the assumption that, hey, taxes are going to go up. I think in the 40s, the top tax bracket was like 94% or 90, I think it was 94%. So we know that taxes are probably going to go up, right? But our prospects just don't know what they don't know. They don't know how big of a tax bomb they might be dealing with. And so that's our job on this nurturing side, on this education side, is to get them to that point where they're able to understand, hey, this is a problem. Like, I do need to meet with John. I do need to meet with Sally. I do need to meet with Nathan. I need to take that next step. So that's why we always give them the ability to book that strategy session if they are ready, right? And so that's exactly what we're able to do with Kara here. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that once somebody comes through, this way she was able to attract a real estate broker, had a good income year of over $300,000, wanted some tax deduction ideas. And so in 2021, Kara was able to earn over $300,000 in revenue, her best year ever, that was directly attributable to that high premium attraction system. So again, this is what we're going to be looking at with any of one of our systems. So you've got your traffic source on the left, then you got to give them the ability to request a lead magnet, give them the ability to request a call, a meeting, a strategy session with you. You got your education and indoctrination nurturing sequence. And then once you're able to get comfortable with that, you can actually start building things out so you can start dripping on people with additional lead magnets, additional videos, additional webinars to continue to get them to spend time with you and eventually get excited enough to be booking a strategy session with you like we had with Kara here. So another good example of this was Steve. Steve's one of our clients. He had been in our program for just over a month. He was in his second month. And he just sent me, it was like, it was so nonchalant, which like gave me a good laugh. But the first thing that he was saying, he was like, hey, I think there was a link that got changed that I accidentally broke when I was changing around my Calendly stuff. So, we went in and got that done. And then all of a sudden he was just like out of nowhere. He was just like, oh, hey, by the way, like I'm closing a deal that's going to be about $40,000 in commission. So it was like, oh, hey, by the way, like this is happening. That was super cool, but I just love how casual he was about it. So again, with this last point, so systems are the key to maximizing opportunities with every prospect and capturing as much revenue as possible without getting burnt out. All right. So take a moment and think, okay, what if you had a system like this that could attract, nurture, and convert your prospects for you on autopilot? How would that change your business? And how would that change your life in general, your personal life, to where you're not constantly worrying about, okay, where's my next high net worth lead coming from? And where's my next high converting professional lead coming from? How would that change your business? So with our high premium attraction system, it is a completely done for you turnkey system. So what I mean by that is that we have set it up so that you do not have to worry about a thing until a prospect has already raised their hand, asking to learn more about who you are, what you do, and what you have to offer. Okay. So with this system, so usually what happens, it's going to be a little bit different depending on the situation. We go in and do a little bit of a diagnostic on your business. Who are you looking to attract? What are the services that you like to offer? What are your specialties? But the basic flow of what we offer inside of this high premium attraction system is, number one, we go through and we revamp your LinkedIn profile. I'll go into detail about these in just a minute. Number two is going to be that marketing system implementation. We're going to do the targeting and tracking of your dream clients. We'll do the follow-up and nurturing processes. We get you access to a CRM or opportunity pipeline, and there's more that goes along with it. So with that LinkedIn profile revamp. So step one, with LinkedIn, one of the things to remember, especially when it comes to your profile, is that there are a lot of bells and whistles that you can get lost in. Again, analysis paralysis is something that happens to 90% of people, right? So you'll take a look and you'll see LinkedIn suggestions of, oh, you can add this, you can add that, you can add that. And you're just like, you know what? I give up. It's not for me. So what we do is we go in and we put the things into place that are going to be most beneficial for the lead generation process. So cover photo, your headline, your about and summary section, optimize it so that as soon as somebody hits your profile, they immediately know who you are, what you do, and what you have to offer. So we've had advisors who have closed six-figure cases purely by connecting with the right person, having that person look at the advisor's profile, and then reach out and saying, hey, can you help me with tax planning? Can you help me with retirement planning? Here's my situation. Okay, can you help me with this? So a very, very important step. Now, the next piece is going to be that proven marketing system implementation. So the sales funnel system that has proven to work, again, from Washington State down to Florida, get you that lead magnet that has proven to work. So we're constantly testing what lead magnet is working, what's not working, how can we improve, how can we optimize and tweak and that kind of stuff. And so all that includes the customization, the design, the tech integrations, and all that kind of stuff. Now, the next piece is the targeting and attracting of your dream clients. Again, we can't pay your bills with connections and conversations. So we actually go out and we do all of your connection requests, the lead search and the targeting. We do the follow-up messaging to your first level connections. And then we also put in the follow-up messaging sequences. We build out an email list for you in the same time. So we're building out a system that's going to give you clients that are not only coming through the door, becoming connections, but are taking those next steps with you as well. In addition to that, we get you everything that you need for the follow-up and nurturing process. So we put into place all of the follow-up email sequences, all of the nurturing sequences. Again, we don't want to teach you how to become a marketer. That's not what you signed up for. So we actually go in and get it all set up for you. We have best practices on how to deliver those lead magnets. We have follow-up scripts and everything that goes into place with that. All right. So again, all done for you. Now, the next thing is going to be at no additional cost is that we get you access to a CRM or an opportunity pipeline that gives you the ability to not just, like you'll see on the screen right here, it's going to be a little bit small probably, but it'll give you the ability at a glance to see where everybody is at in the process, who requested your lead magnet, who booked a call, who do you need to follow up with, who became a new client, who was a lost opportunity, somebody that may still be on your email list, but now's not the time. That's what we put inside of that opportunity pipeline for you. And we also have smart tagging and sequencing that goes along with that, so that as somebody requests a lead magnet, they get a certain follow-up nurturing sequence. If they book a call, it stops that sequence that's enticing them to book a call and moves them into a reminder sequence about, hey, here's your time for the call. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to have follow-up sequences, all that kind of stuff, right? All built in. So That's what we've been able to set up for these individuals. So again, John, $230,000 to $250,000 in revenue coming through. Mike had $90,000 to $100,000 in the first couple of months. Kara over $300,000 in 2021. Ford had that $33 million client, along with all this other stuff that we already talked about. So again, like I mentioned before, and Nathan, you already gave me permission on this. So what I want to do is have a special offer for advisors for all of you that are associated with Praxis. Okay. So again, we've got like the profile revamp, the proven marketing system implementation, targeting and tracking of your dream clients, a follow-up nurturing process, the opportunity pipeline, everything in between, all done for you. So normally this costs $14.97 per month, with month one having a $500 setup fee. So again, that's what these advisors have been using. That's getting them the results. But what I want to do is first, I want to waive that $500 setup fee. So that's something that you don't have to worry about. Again, that setup fee only comes in month one, but that's something that I want to take off for you guys specifically. Now, the next thing that I want to do is, instead of $14.97 per month, is I'm going to drop that down to $9.97 per month. And that is a price that is locked in for you specifically from now until forever. Right? So as we go in, and we've done this several times where as we've added new pieces and elements to the program, again, if you're in our program and we figure out, hey, we're going to add an additional email sequence, or we're going to add additional explainer videos, that's something, if you're in our program, you do not pay extra for it. If you are one of our advisors, we want you to be as effective and efficient as possible and have your bottom line be going up. So that's stuff that we add in at no additional cost, even if we are increasing that cost for new advisors coming in the door. But that $9.97 a month is locked in forever. So that is something that, like, we don't have any long-term contracts. We believe that we need to be earning your business each and every month. So if something isn't working, excuse me, we're going to be working hand in hand with you. So if you're saying, hey, people are booking appointments, but they're not showing up, hey, we want to be working with you long-term. So we're going to go in and see, okay, what do we need to adjust? What do we need to tweak? How can we make this so that people are not only becoming leads, but becoming clients? Again, we don't want you to be trying to pay your bills with connections and conversations. We need to convert those connections into clients, right? So $9.97 a month, there's no long-term contracts. And that's something that we are going to lock in for you guys specifically forever. All right. So Nathan, you tell me the best way to go about this. If anybody's interested, there's a link that I can get out to you guys. I don't know if I probably won't be able to put this in the chat, but this is something that, I mean, we can send out in a follow-up email, or you let me know what's going to be best. But what I'll do is I've opened up some time on my calendar for you guys specifically, so we can go in and take a look at your business to see if this is something that is going to be a fit for you specifically, and talk about next steps and onboarding and that kind of stuff. But Nathan, do you typically send out follow-up emails with from these webinars?
I was just going to say, so one of the things that we'll do is, this is recorded. In a follow-up email, you would get the recording of this, as well as Tyson's link, and any other additional information that you send out, Tyson. We'll put it kind of together in a package, so that everyone has that link. They can click on it. And to answer one of the questions that just came through, and the first step of that is doing a consultation. The consultation, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Tyson, but consultation is 100% free. Yeah. And then if you guys decide to move forward together after that, this all makes sense. Then because you have a relationship with Praxis and everything that we're doing, that $9.97 fee is for everyone here. And that's a big deal. We have advisors that use Tyson's platform. They rave about it. And like I said, Tyson is a group expert in multiple of the insurance forums and things like that, and has established himself very well in the community, which is why he's even on this webinar. If he wasn't, he is not a fly-by-night operation. So that's why I appreciate Tyson, everything's doing. But we'll send an email to everyone by the afternoon with that link, if you want to have a conversation with Tyson and his team.
Perfect. And then I saw that was a question that was just asked. So the $9.97 being due on the first day. So yes, to get started, what we'll do is we send you, so like Nathan said, we'll have that initial consultation where we'll have a conversation, make sure that this is going to be a fit. I never want to try to fit a square peg in a round hole. So we'll talk and say, okay, this is something that is going to work, or, hey, this probably isn't going to be a good fit based on what you're looking at doing. But if it is a fit and it's something that you want to move forward with, what we do is we send you over an onboarding form that's going to ask some basic information. I mean, it takes 6 minutes to fill out. It's nothing crazy, but that's when you do submit that initial payment. And from there, what we do is we actually launch this campaign in phases. So phase 1 is going to be getting your LinkedIn profile revamped. We start your connection request as fast as possible. And then we also are going to be building out your entire sales funnel in that process. Now, the sales funnel will take probably about 7 to 10 days on average. We build in a little buffer just in case technology decides not to cooperate. But my operations manager would probably be a little upset if if I said this, but typically we get that done in less than 7 days. But what happens is that your first month time period, that first month clock, does not start until after everything is completely built out and we start the outbound campaign. So $997 would be due on day 1, but the clock is not going to start for that first month until after everything is built out and we start that outbound messaging. So typically with that first month and that first payment, you get, I mean, let's say on average, you get about 40 days of work and marketing and stuff like that before you get to that second month. So let me know if that didn't make sense or if you need any additional clarification.
I mean, that made sense on my end. Let's see. Great. Well, we're looking forward to working with you too. That'd be exciting. Like I said, Tyson is fantastic and his team is fantastic at this. We're really excited to bring them on and have those conversations because I know a lot of the people that are here are looking for the ways to get into specifically higher net worth leads and have those conversations. Many of you are planners, advisors, have your series license, are doing infinite banking concepts and things like that. And that's the type of marketing that is right up Tyson's alley, which is rare because the vast majority of leads that are out there are the mortgage protection, the final expense, the Medicare, the PNC. Those are easily accessible because they're transactional. But how to nurture higher net worth leads is always been a difficult task. And this puts the control more in your hand of creating those conversations and then talking to those specific prospects. But I know we've only got 1 minute left. I want to honor everyone's time. Like I said, we'll get that link out shortly in the afternoon. It would definitely be worth it just to schedule time to talk with Tyson and his team and see if this is going to be a good fit, answer any specific questions. And then if for anyone that's here, if you guys want to talk to the Praxis team, just about how we've used Tyson and some of the success and things like that, feel free to touch base with us. We would love to have those conversations.
Perfect.
Well, with that said, we're at 12 o'clock. I'm going to wrap this up. Tyson, really appreciate your time recording, and the link will get out to everyone this afternoon, and then follow up with Tyson directly, or you can follow up with us as well if there's any questions.
Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate it.
No problem. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.